A tax levied on a person who consumes that, may be goods or services, which can be collected by the person who provides that. Securities is a type of investment or a savings. Is it consumption? Answer is no. So as a policy, it should not fit here, but yet they have made it. Maybe that in future, what I see, they might be doing away with security transaction tax and this. But well, fundamentally, it doesn't sound to be good. But when बोले ना सुबह हो और मैं लॉ मेकर बोले रात है तो रात है, रात को बोले सुबह है तो सुबह है, लाइक दैट. जोशी साहब जैसे ही कोई आएगा बोले ना ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है, तब अपने को पता चलेगा यस देयर इज अनदर व्यू टू दैट. सो वेल, securities can be in physical form or demat form. Now pause for a moment here. We do not know in final GST law, securities may be though kept in the definition, may be removed, or may be kept but yet not taxed. Zero rated, tax free, exempt fully. But if it is taxed, the issue can be there. If I am holding physical securities and it is goods defined, I have that share certificate, debenture certificate, and I transfer that, supply that. Tax can be there on that. But if I have a demat form, today we have that. And in demat form means it is not in a tangible form. Once it is not in a tangible form, it takes the shape of an intangible, and intangible is excluded from the term goods. So if there is a levy of GST on securities, maybe there, somebody is supplying physically security, it will be taxed as goods, and all the provision related to the supply of goods will be applicable. And if somebody transfers the securities in demat form, intangible, not as goods, then what? We'll see. So I can say that, okay, goods now, mobile property, what today I understand, continues, tangible property, all this, what we see, what we can touch and feel, furniture, chair, everything, water, yet, goods, gases, all, oxygen, nitrogen, goods, electricity, goods, and so on. Petroleum products, alcoholic liquor, yes, they are goods. Constitution has also said, yes, they are taxable. Newspapers, not excluded from the term goods in our GST definition. So now newspapers can be taxed under the GST. And what was that earlier? Old entry 92 of Union List, which referred to taxes on sale or purchase of newspapers and advertisements published therein, is omitted. Right? So no tax separately can be levied by Union under 92, omitted. And entry 54 also does not specify newspaper. So if at all any taxes to be levied, only GST can be levied on newspapers. Maybe fundamental right whether to levy or not, apart. Let us go to now the definition of service. Having known that goods means mobile property, excluding say intangible and so on. Now service is defined in a very nice manner. Service means anything other than goods. That means residuary. Whatever is goods are goods, but if something is not goods, services. Right? For us it is simple when we say, we get a phone call from client that what is the tax rate on this product? We say that I am emailing you 4 or 5 schedules, just see to that. If you don't find reference of your goods into that, residuary rate, higher rate. Same way, if something you say that, you declare that, you determine that, you interpret that it is not goods, it is services. So supply of those things or those activities will be treated as supply of services, not goods. Services include, right? Yet they want to specify. Include what? Intangible property and actionable. Now what is excluded from the term goods has been included here. So now actionable claims and intangible property will be services, not goods. It does not include money. So money is excluded from both goods as well as services. So long as it is declared that now this is the currency in operation, say declaration will happen, that is money. Before that it is a printing of paper. Now let me give you an example of actionable claims. Now what can be the services? Claim to any debt, bills receivable, promissory notes, insurance policies, benefit of a contract, giving option to purchase goods or land, claim for arrears of rent or debt, an option to repurchase sold properties, and so on. These are all actionable claims. Now if any transaction is there of this category, will be treated as rendering of services in GST. For intangible property, patents, trademark, copyrights, designs, import licenses, and so on. So all this will be now treated as services. So what we were knowing till date, goods will be now services. So the provisions applying qua place of supply, point of supply, all this you have to relate to the services. And if there is a specific provision qua a specific entry, that particular provision will apply, determining the taxable event qua that particular rendering of services. For others you will have to see the other general provision. Software. Software is now what? I say that I am owning that software, means I have a right into that software. The person who write a software has a copyright into the software. So it's a intangible, copyright in a software. And separately it is mentioned that software. Now when supplied on CD or pen drive, again a problem. How? So software downloaded online, nothing has been there, no medium is given. I wanted to send the presentation to association. I simply emailed, they downloaded and they put up here. So what happens? I have not given any tangible form, no goods. I have given the software, or I have given a write-up. That means when I have given this or somebody downloads that, it's a service. But if it is given on a medium, CD, on a hard disk, on a pen drive, recall the Supreme Court verdict, canned software is goods, TCS 2005 Supreme Court. Now, do you mean to say that today if I supply software on a CD is a service? In my view, no. So then there will be a problem of going into the nitty-gritty and the details of a transaction, whether the software is supplied online or on a medium, whether goods or services. So life is becoming complex now. Correct? Let us go further. Electromagnetic waves, radio frequencies are not goods, as held in BSNL 2006. So it is services. Fine, no problem. Immovable property. Now here a main issue arises. Immovable property, that is land, building, TDR, FSI, rights in all this immovable property. When I look to this particular issue, immovable property is not movable, so out of goods. And the services is defined other than goods. So immovable property is now services. So when I supply land, it is a supply of services, GST can be levied. When I sell my flat, when I sell my office, a constructed office, it is a supply of services. May be liable to stamp duty, may be liable to GST also. Dual levy can be there. Then TDR, FSI related to immovable property, now services. Unless and until in a GST final law this is exempt, it will not be out of the GST net. So if it is made zero rated, then all other issues about the input tax credit onto that on purchase, and everything all will arise. So let us await for the final law to come, whether this should be excluded or not, but as on today it is a deemed service. Supply includes, right? So now, having looked to the definition of the term goods and services, now let me take you all through section 3 of the draft law, which provides for supply. This is the basic incidence provision that, okay, supply of goods and services taxable. Now let us see supply means what. When I see this provision, it says supply includes. So again, inclusive provision. So whatever you generally mean supply plus this. Supply includes, and when I say supply, the general meaning of it, a dictionary meaning, it says provide, to provide. I provide something. Right now I am providing, I am delivering a lecture, supply. Or furnish something, it is also supply. Supply includes all forms of supply. Actually, it is not defining anything, right? It is round and round, correct? But it says, okay, supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal made or agreed to be made for a consideration. So till this point, consideration is must. Further, by a person in the course or furtherance of business, right? Till date in our present laws, we have the clauses in the course of business, during the course of business, prior to commencement or at the time of closure and so on. But now we have a new term, in the furtherance of business. Have I come here and giving a lecture for furtherance of my profession? I do not know. Everybody's view, and as mentioned by Joshi sir, there can be 3 views. Well, joke apart, all forms of supply and all this. Now let us see what it means. All forms of supply means either it can be contractual or gratuitous. Right? By law, by your contract with somebody, you have a legal right to claim. Or the supply can be mandatory, compulsory under some law, or it can be voluntary. Or it can be actual, or it can be symbolic. When I say, take this, actual. When I say, this is available whenever you need, you take it. Made available, symbolic. Now he knows that goods are ready, lying in godown, made available. Marked and kept aside. Maybe their label also put, giving instructions to that godown keeper, if somebody comes to pick up these goods, give the delivery. Symbolic. Same form or changed form. We know all this in this works contract. So the goods given in the same form or used in the changed form. Or it can be outright, or it can be lease, license, and so on. So you can think of many forms of supply. Everything is supply. When I read the terms such as, and thereafter all the terminology is there, and the law says that a person is known by the company he keeps, friends he keeps. Same way, when I read the terms after such as, of course it is examples specified therein which relates more to goods. Use it more for goods and not for services. For example, sale of goods, transfer of goods, barter of goods, exchange of goods, license of goods, rental and so on. So that means, do you mean to say that they just have given some examples or the terminology used in the law only qua those services not covered? Basic intention is not that. So one may not be able to stretch to that extent. But when you draft a law, it should be such that it should look simple and it should be effective and no two views can be possible. There must be clarity and no doubt in a general person's mind. Well, supply includes mortgage, hypothecation, charge or pledge. Question. It's not excluded. All forms of supply may be covering this. Whatever we are discussing the draft law, mind well. And a view I am putting up before you for a ponder. It's not I cannot say my final view. I may say a view with some force, with some reason, with some justification. But it's a new law. We all have to understand, learn it, reread it, discuss, debate, see others' view also, and then finally you can conclude. But as on this draft law, this is not excluded, it is a supply. Dissolution of firm, retirement of a partner, goods taken away. Supply, yes. Under the taxation law, firms and partner are different. If a partner withdraws goods, firm can sell the goods to partner. It depends. We have many judgments also. If you say that I have introduced my motor car in the firm as a capital, as on today, it's not a consideration, not taxable, not a sale from partner to the firm, no purchase and sale transaction. How you have drafted, how you have entered in your books of account, your journal entry, narration counts. But in dissolution and retirement of a partner, in GST, supply is there from the firm to the partner. Whether firm and partners are different, let us see. Inheritance. I get many things, securities, jewelry, flat, and some goods in inheritance. Whether it is a supply. Now here one can say that, read now the definition above. For a consideration, is there a consideration? Answer is obviously no. I do not know, the court may say love is consideration, affection is consideration. But apparently no. Is it in the course or furtherance of business? Obviously no. So inheritance can be out of this. Supply is for a consideration, right? So now let us see, what do you mean by consideration? Consideration can be agreed or it can be received or receivable. Maybe in future credit is given. May not be received also. Agreed, enough. Bad debts may be there. Consideration can be in the form of subscription or otherwise. A society charges to a member, AOP, club, by way of subscription and then supply everything. It is a consideration. Consideration can be in cash or kind. Now all those terminology what we have in the present law, money and all valuable consideration is now cash or so has gone. It's simple consideration. So the consideration can be in kind also. Now let us see, what do you mean in the GST law by the term business? And then let us try to assign the meaning to the term in the course of that business or in the course or in the furtherance of that business. What? So when I see the definition of the term business under section 217, it is again inclusive. So whatever you generally know as business, he is doing business, it's business, plus what? Any trade, commerce, manufacture, fine. Profession. So now profession is a business. I feel this definition may not be palatable to our seniors. A noble profession, gone all those terms. Everybody is in business. I do not know now who is not in business. Vocation is business. See, think how our culture is now changing. So the changing times, the changing leaders, changing culture, and then there will be a sea change. So now profession is a business, whether or not for a pecuniary benefit. That means whether the object of doing that activity for a monetary benefit, monetary gain, or maybe for charitable purpose. I manufacture certain goods for charity. It's business, not my monetary gain, profit. So all these charitable organizations are covered here. Incidental or ancillary transaction, business, irrespective of volume, frequency, continuity or regularity, right? During commencement or closure, capital assets or other goods, part of business. Services, now this is very important. Services supplied by a person as holder of an office accepted in the course of furtherance of his trade, profession or vocation. Now here, all these office bearers are sitting here. They are holding some office of an association. Objective is to part with knowledge to the members. Services supplied by a person as holder of an office accepted in the course or furtherance of his trade. I doubt that now in future, a time to come, the judges may be able to stretch to a interpretation to a large extent. Well, finally it says, notwithstanding above, the supply of any branded service by an aggregator as defined under section 43B of GST law under a brand name, trade name owned by him shall be deemed to be the supply of said service by the said aggregator. For example, Uber. Right? Today the issue and controversy is when a rape happened at Delhi and the charge was tried to be put up on that organization, they said, sir, we are just having a platform. I am not guaranteeing any service of anybody. I am a mere aggregator, I am a mere platform provider, I am an information technology person supplying something facility. I do not know anything about the services or the person who is rendering that services, or I am not aware of what type of goods he may be giving to you. So my role is only as an agent, can you say, bringing the buyer and seller together, bringing the recipient and supplier together. Think on that. Now this particular aspect has been done away with by this particular note. It says, notwithstanding above, note is I have put up as note, but it is a provision. Notwithstanding above, the supply of all this is deemed to be the supply of service by the said aggregator. So now liability is now his, qua taxes. Right? Now he cannot say I am an aggregator and so on.